Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I do appreciate you sharing your time with me. Today I wanted to share with you some things that I found when I went out. I actually stopped at Home Depot. I have been searching for some sphagnum moss and I don't think I found it there. I found it at Lowe's. I do believe I found it at Lowe's. Lowe's was putting out so many supplies for plants, for indoor plants. They had tons of pots they were putting out, and they had a lot of new plants. Large plants, small plants, succulents, everything. They had so many new plants. They are definitely gearing up for the springtime. And so in this particular Lowe's that I went to, normally they take all of their plants and they put them on anything that looks like it's been there too long, they put it on the clearance rack. But they take such good care of their plants in this particular location that they didn't really have much on the clearance rack. But I mean, there were a few little pieces here and there, but their plants were stocked and they had a ton of the pots that I shared with you that I purchased for $4. They didn't have the $4 size in the gray color, but they did have the fluted larger size. And that one is really beautiful. It's $7.14, I believe. And that was a very, very good deal. I thought that was excellent. Now, before I went to Lowe's, I actually went to the Walmart location where I found my Syngonium winlandii. And I was hoping that they would have just like, a new shipment, or I would just be excited about going in and seeing something really fun and exciting. I went in and almost all the plants were dead or dying. I have a nervous laugh. It was not funny. It's so terrible that the plants were all doing so badly, almost as if they brought them to the store and they never did anything to them in the time that they were there. So it was really disappointing. And I was really happy that I went to Walmart before I went to Lowe's, only because it makes me feel sad when I go into a store and they have a bunch of dead plants. And that store was awful. But the upside of that was they had a lot of the plants marked down, and I found a Dieffenbachia that I do not own and I can't even find an ID for. I'm not sure what it's called, but it is so beautiful. I did have to do some rehabbing to it. I was hoping that I would be able to share the rehab with you, like the process that I went through, but because all of the plants look so funny, I was afraid to have it in my house and not repot it. And so I did, and I'm happy that I did, because there was some rot going on in one of the stems, but there are quite a few stems in this plant. So let me just show it to you, but this is obviously not the way I got it. Okay, so this is the Dieffenbachia that I found in the clearance section, and this plant looks so sad. Half of the plant, like the stems, were out of the base of the pot, and I didn't know what it would look like in the end as much as I knew it looked beautiful. And I had to go heavy with pruning the plant back, so it was definitely worth it. It was a lot of work for me to get it into this shape, but it was definitely worth it. I brought it home, I gave it a nice bubble bath, and I just let it soak for a little while, and then I repotted it, and I definitely changed out the soil. The soil was all peat moss, and I didn't want that. No, I didn't want that at all. So she still has some bruising on her leaves, but we'll just let her work through that. I think these are all things that can just be a little bit surface and that they won't be a really big issue. So I think she's beautiful. I do not have this type of Dieffenbachia, and if you do know the name of this plant, I would really appreciate it if you could share it with me, because I'm looking at, I think there are 3 different plants in this genus that have basically the same look, but then I think the thing that draws me with this one is just the chunks of the green in some of the stems. Do you see that? Look at this one right here. That is so beautiful. I'm so in love with this plant. I just couldn't believe how incredibly gorgeous it was, even though it was like slumped over, hanging down. I just said, wow, that's a gorgeous plant. I was so happy that I was able to get it at such a good deal, because This is a nice big plant, but it took some rehabbing. But this is the very first day in my home, and it already looks amazing. So it's nice and sturdy. It's not hanging and slumped over anymore. It's just so pretty. So I'm really happy about this. And I would, again, appreciate it if you have an idea for this plant, if you could just let me know what you think it's called. She's beautiful. So next I went over to Lowe's, like I mentioned, and Lowe's, they were just loaded. And I am going to run a few clips in here as far as what I saw when I went to Lowe's, because it was really exciting to go in there and see it fresh and new. It has been worked over for so long that it was really nice to see fresh new plants, and even the energy in the store was just a little bit different because the people that were working there had so much beauty to work with, and so they were really happy. And I will tell you, I was talking to myself the entire time I was there, to the point that the woman kept coming over asking me, oh, I'm sorry, did you need help with something? I said, I'm sorry, I'm having a full conversation with myself. But I had to talk myself down from a couple of those plants because I said, I don't need it. I don't need it. And they were beautiful, but I needed to step away from those plants. They were just so beautiful that I was getting caught up in the moment, but I did not need those plants. The only thing that I did need was this one right here. I needed this one, right? This is what I needed. I totally needed this one. I have searched for a Harlequin pothos from the beginning of collecting my plants, my house plants, and this is the closest I have ever come to finding one. This plant has more white variegation of any Mandula I have ever seen, and certainly not in a pot this size. And I don't know that the Harlequin pothos exists. I really don't, because I don't see it anywhere. It may have just been a beautiful, unstable variegation of the Mandula, but it was really beautiful. And that means it is achievable. So I'm looking at this plant. Look at this beautiful. Okay, this is so pretty. I'm bringing it closer to the screen, and it just looks so beautiful. Look how beautiful that is. Look how full and happy this plant is. Now, there were only 2 of these in the store, and when I was picking between the 2 of them, the other one actually had much more in the pot. There were a lot more plants in the pot. They were both full like this, but the other one was just crammed really tight where you couldn't really see anything inside of it. Whereas if I were to have purchased that one, I would have split it up into 2, because I need to be able to see the soil of anything in my house. Got to be able to see that soil. But this one right here had the bright white variegation. And because I already have one that has darker variegation, I just thought it was a no-brainer to go with this one. I mean, it wasn't the secondary one. They were both equally as beautiful. My goal is to make sure that I always use distilled water on this one so that it can keep its nice bright variegation. And there are some leaves that have been burned because this was sitting right in the window in the showroom. So this one right here has burning on it. And there are a couple of others. Oh, but look at this. Look at that leaf right there. That is complete perfection. Oh, wow. That is so beautiful. I look at this. Oh, look at this one. I look at this plant and it just reminds me of that Harlequin plant that I wanted so badly. I look at this and it's amazing. It is such a beautiful plant, and it was just sitting there waiting for me, calling me, saying, let's do lunch. This is going to be wonderful. I'm just, look at that. This is so beautiful. So this is what I purchased, and I was really happy about it. This is the moss that I normally purchase when I go into that Lowe's, and it is only this one particular Lowe's that carries this package on a regular basis. But then through January, they didn't have it, and I don't know what it was. And I know that there are issues with this product in particular. And originally, before I found out about those things, I was planning on using it for my aeroids that I want to stay kind of just like my Monstera. Like, I have quite a few Monstera clippings that I would like just to stay more compact. I don't want them to get super huge. And I thought this would be the route to take, but I think I have 3 Monstera cuttings that are in sphagnum moss, and they are getting huge. I'm going to show you the one that I just had to repot. They are getting, just like they're out of control, getting huge. Okay, so here she is. She has so many new leaves, and of course this right here was the original. This is all from Mo, my Monstera, and this is the one. This is a leaf I cut from her. And this was actually 2 different cuttings, but it was from the very same side of the plant because it was entirely too big to fit in the corner that I have it in now. And so I cut it, and but it's just, there are just so many new leaves on it. I really thought that this was going to keep it from just expanding too much. Not that it can be too much, but this is just one that I plan on having in the house all the time. Whereas the others outside of Mo, they will be outside in my yard in the springtime. But this is one I just wanted to have. I have this sitting on my dining room table, so it's not supposed to be this big. But anyway, we just move it when we're eating dinner, so it's okay. So that, I was really excited to find some moss, because this, and then I have a couple of others, like I mentioned, that need to have the sphagnum moss for the roots. But then it just seems like when I wrap the roots in the sphagnum moss, it just goes all throughout it, and I can't get it out. So it's not going to be the easiest thing for me just to decide I'm not going to keep it in sphagnum moss, only because that's where they want to be. That is my entire haul for today, and all of the footage I have from going to Lowe's today. Lowe's was loaded with all kinds of beautiful green lush plants, and it was really exciting to go in there today. Very, very exciting. So I hope you find some goodies in your Lowe's, whether it's pots or plants, whatever you're looking for. Supplies that have been very limited for the month of January, they're all loaded in there, so it's really exciting to go in right now. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you, and I thank you very much if you subscribe to my channel or press the like button. I truly do appreciate that. I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye.